One thing I didn't mention is that Christian Heritage Party believes that we should have what's called a fair tax, and that would be taxes only on purchases. It would be around 15 to 18%. There would be no taxes on your income. So you can control how much tax you get by how much you are purchasing. And in that way you could give more money would stay in the pockets of people, and that would allow people that maybe don't make as much money to pay less. Also, if you're on a below the poverty line, they would give you money ahead of time. The government would send you a check to help you live, because you wouldn't be making enough money to pay for everything.
Thank you. Next we go to Stephen Crozier.
Okay, so I think there are a couple of ways that we can look at overcoming the housing crisis that we're in right now. The one has to do with supply, and that is that we need to have the government stepping in and providing housing that is non-profit, so that it is directed for the people that need the housing now. We've seen tonight that this is something that makes economic sense as well as social sense. We also have a policy of retrofitting houses. This is going to provide, if you take a look at the New Deal for People, which is the NDP platform and our commitments, what's going to happen, we need a lot of work to be done in order to switch from a fossil fuel economy to a green economy. And this means that money will be, we need the money to come out of the cesspools of the rich, what I call the cesspools of the rich, and go into the economy so that it's providing jobs.
Thank you. Next we go to Randeep Sarai.
Sure. We already have a plan. We developed a national housing strategy. We put $2.2 billion and set a target of reducing chronic homelessness by 50% in the next 10 years. We're already ahead of schedule. We beat our target by 3 years in reducing homelessness by 20%. The first project, Veterans Village, is broken ground. Over 160 units will be made there for seniors as well, the senior veterans, homeless veterans. About a dozen projects are underway, and we're committed to reducing chronic homelessness by 50%, making more affordable rental housing for those that are starting their first journey. And then also we have a first-time home buyer initiative that'll help bring over 160,000 families into this market. So for Surrey Centre, I think you can see it from the strip being transitioned into 160 homes and 248 other permanent homes being built. This is real action. Nobody thought it could happen in 4 years, and we've done it.
The next person is Mike Coolin.
Well, the People's Party of Canada, it's not popular, but we're saying let's defund CBC. That's $1 billion right there, and then there's $600 million that was given also to the rest of the media. And so I think we could take that money, divide that into our major cities, and we can, because we're generous, Canadians are generous, and so we can take that money. I don't mind keep paying that money if it goes to helping our vets, our people that are suffering, mental issues, people that can't get up right now and get a helping hand. We could use that money instead of funding media that has then an obligation to the government.
Thank you. Next we'll hear from Beverly Hobby.
3 months after my dad died, we lost our home because my mom couldn't pay the rent and feed 3 kids. Luckily, a local farmer rented us a tiny shack on his farm. It was not insulated, it didn't have a heating system, there was no running water and no toilet, but it had a small wood-burning fireplace. It was in Quebec where the temperatures in winter fell well below zero. Since the 1960s, social supports have improved, and we now have a social contract between the government and the people of Canada that is funded through progressive taxation. But after 30 years of government cutbacks, this contract is frayed. Renewing the social contract is a Green Party priority. We must start by recommitting to a vision of Canada as a just society built around a progressive, fair, and compassionate social safety network. And after all the talking stops, we're all just walking each other home.
Thank you. Next, here's our Chief Surrey.
Does anyone know how much it costs per square foot when you're building a house? Most people don't know, and that price varies. So when we hear numbers about this many million or that many billion, it doesn't mean much to most Canadians. NDP is committing 500,000 units. That's a number. That's 500,000 homes for Canadians. Doesn't matter what the price is. It's going to be lower in one area, higher in another. It's a balancing act of where we're at. We are progressive NDPers. A lot of us that are running in the ridings out here in Surrey are coming from very conservative, financially, consistently, we are a little bit more cautious about the money we're spending. When you vote NDP, what you're voting for is people like us that are here to ensure that you have a better life. So it's not about draining the pockets of Canadians through taxation, it's about looking after everyone through a balancing act. We have the skills, we have the knowledge, we have the background. Now we want you to support us on October 21st so we can deliver for you.
Thank you. Next, we'll hear from Harpreet Singh.